Hello students, and welcome back to your life skills videos. In this video, we would be learning on the topic empathy and forgiveness, and the title of our lesson is My Very Own Star. What is empathy? Empathy means understanding what another person thinks and feels. It is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It is putting yourself in someone else's position and feeling what they must be feeling. Empathy causes you to care deeply about other people. When you have empathy, you are concerned for the well-being and happiness of others. What is forgiveness? Forgiveness is the act of pardoning an offender. It also refers to letting go of the need for revenge and releasing negative thoughts of bitterness and resentment against someone. Let us look into the story of the lesson and get a better understanding of these two topics. My very own star. Meet my family. This is my dad. He's cool most times, but some days he decides to hang out with my friends when they come home. He cracks what he thinks are funny jokes. Oh well. This is my ma. She would be the best mother ever if she stopped babying me. She does it all the time. Are you hungry? Wash your hands. Be careful. Look before you cross, etc., etc. And here comes my super duper brother Mohit. I worship him. He's such a whiz with all things electronic and non-electronic. Ma often feels we break more than what we fix. And me, I'm Manav. I'm still figuring out who I am. I know some things. I love dogs, the bigger the better. I love strawberry ice cream. I love blowing bubblegum bubbles. I'm terrified a meteorite will crash into Earth, and I blunder at all the time. The last time I blundered was particularly nasty. To know what happened, read on. I was super excited because I was invited by Rohan to come over to his house. He has a huge home with endless gizmo and gadgets. Almost every day he invites someone to his house. That day was my turn. I settled down in Rohan's car and marveled at how soft the seats felt. The car smelled delicious. But suddenly, we had a flat tire. I always suspected I was jinxed. Now I was sure. As luck would have it, there was a garage about 100 meters away, the very place I didn't want to go. The driver went out to get someone from the garage. And who came back with him? It was none other than Mohit. Mohit was surprised to see me in the car. He smiled and said hi. He waited for me to introduce him to Rohan. I said a quick hello and rolled up my window. Mohit shrugged and rolled the tire away. My cheeks were burning. How could I tell Rohan my brother was repairing his car? What would Rohan think? Mohit works at a garage after college. He says the money doesn't hurt. More importantly, he is learning more about machines there than he would in any classroom. Rohan asked me if I knew that mechanic. I mumbled that he lived in the neighborhood and changed the subject quickly. After Mohit fixed the puncture, he knocked on my window and signaled that I should roll it down. I shook my head to say no and waved by. I could see he was bewildered, but whatever, I had a spectacular time at Rohan's place. We had the best burgers and the best milkshakes. We played with his gizmos. But throughout this visit, something didn't feel quite right. How had I made what Rohan might think so important? How had I hurt Mohit so deliberately? I went home determined to fix things. Mohit came home just before dinner. Before I could apologize, he told me not to talk to him. He was quite mad at me. I was so upset with myself. but I yelled that he had no business to find out about my friends, and I would decide when I wanted to introduce him. That night, I tossed and turned. Finally, I knew I had to. I went to Mohit and hugged him. He hugged right back. He always has and always will. I said I was sorry. I apologized to him. The soft car seats and that delicious smell had made me a monster, I told him. Mohit laughed and said I had to take monster responsibility. Couldn't palm it off on the seats, the smell, or other innocent things. Mohit told me he had been really hurt by what I did. He took great pride in his work. When I treated it like something I was ashamed or embarrassed about, it made him feel small. What I think matters to him, I matter to him. I asked him if he could pick me at school tomorrow. I wanted to introduce him to Rohan. Mohit is my star and will always be. I have to remember that. In this lesson, we see how Manav hurt his big brother, but later he put himself in Mohit's shoes and empathized how his brother must have felt when he tried to ignore his brother in front of his friend. Eventually, he went and apologized to his brother for his mistake. Then his brother also expressed his feelings that he was hurt because his younger brother gave him such a treatment that made him feel small. The end result was that Mohit forgave his younger brother. He was a forgiving big brother. This is how sympathy leads to forgiveness between siblings or friends. Empathy and forgiveness are related to each other as empathy is an essential component in the forgiveness process. We all have someone to forgive and we all need someone else's forgiveness. Empathy is a powerful step to forgiveness. The first step to forgiveness is seeing things from the other person's point of view and trying to understand his or her actions might help to understand why he or she made that mistake. Talking and discussing your feelings helps the other person to know that he or she has hurt you. Empathy is the act of imagining a situation from another person's perspective. Hence, when we are able to stand in the shoes of the other person who hurt us by not justifying their action, but instead seeking to understand it, then we are able to forgive. We stop thinking ill of them and they become someone we can forgive. Empathy towards them can strengthen and enhance our relationship. Therefore, it is important that we express and clarify our feelings and misunderstandings when we have hurt someone or is hurt by them. Why forgive? Holding on to hurt and anger can make you resent the other person and can lead to bitterness. Resolving the feelings of anger and forgiving someone is a liberating experience. When we hold on to anger, resentment, guilt, and pain, our entire body and mind suffers. Having an unforgiving attitude will only make you feel bitter and suffocating. But forgiveness can liberate you from this suffering. It will give you a sense of peace and happiness in return. Gandhi once said, "The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong." It takes a strong person to forgive and release the pain. So why not choose to be a strong person who forgives? Is it easy to forgive? It is not easy to keep feelings of anger and sadness on hold when someone has hurt your feelings. Accepting personal feelings of being hurt and yet being willing to understand someone else's actions takes effort. When you're angry at someone, your emotions can be so strong and blinding that forgiveness will be the last thing you would want to do. Forgiveness is not easy, but it is necessary that we forgive, as it is better to release the hatred than to hold on and suffer mentally and emotionally within. So we see that forgiveness is important in our lives, as it is an essential virtue. Let us look into the importance of forgiveness. Number 1, forgiveness sets you free from the bondage of resentments. It removes the anger and hatred from your heart. It begins your healing process. It will give you peace of mind. And lastly, it helps you move forward with life. So that's the end of this lesson. You have 3 worksheets here. Complete this and submit to me, as it'll be graded for your midterm results. Thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next video.